All right, cuties, come on in. We are about to go over this lawsuit from Brit Eady versus Body. Brit is suing Truly Original LLC, Bravo Media LLC, NBC Universal Media LLC, Edamal Shine North America, and Jane slash John Doe 1 through 5. Now, I'm just going to say this. I believe Kenya Moore may be a part of this lawsuit. We'll get into a little bit more at the end. But grab you a drink, lend me your ears, and I'm going to go ahead and go over the lawsuit. Now, Brit filed this lawsuit on June 5th, and she filed it it's under the Supreme Court of the state of New York. We know Bravo headquarters and all of that are based in New York. Her lawyer is also based in New York, and we're going to get to it. So it has and you guys can't see it, but it lists the address of each party, and they all are located in New York. Other than Endemol Shine North America, they are in California. But it starts off, and I'll read it one by one. It says the nature of this action is defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, false light, respondent, superior, and actual harassment and hostile work environment in violation of the New York State human rights law and the New York City human rights law in regards to an incident occurring during a June 6, 2024 taping of the reality television show The Real Housewives of Atlanta, also known as RHOA, and the subsequent production and airing of an Real Housewives of Atlanta episode on April 6, 2025. So, what she's saying right there is they taped that scene at Kenya Moore's hair spa in June of last year, June 6, 2024, but it aired April 6, 2025. So, pay attention to that. It goes on to state on June 6, 2024, at an event that was filmed for the production of Real Housewives of Atlanta, one of the show's cast members willfully, intentionally, recklessly, and slash or with gross negligence made false, defamatory, harassing, and damaging statements regarding the plaintiff. Another cast member on the show, in front of an audience of approximately 200 people. The cast member also displayed posters containing written, false, and defamatory statements regarding plaintiff and her occupation, as well as an explicit photograph depicting a woman engaged in graphic sexual conduct. The cast member falsely claimed that the photograph depicted the plaintiff. Plaintiff was not present when the photograph was presented and did not see the explicit photograph until after certain of these events were aired on Bravo nearly a year later as addressed. Now, I want to say this because I do think that, it's my opinion, this could have been calculated. And I think that Brit most likely consulted with an attorney back when this happened in June of 2024. And I think they sat on this lawsuit. I think they wanted to make sure that it aired, which will further their claim. Now, those are my thoughts. I don't know nothing, okay? But anyway, it goes on to say attendees of the event took photographs, video, and audio recordings of the cast members' statements and circulated certain of them on social media sites, including Instagram and TikTok. and the statements were subsequently circulated by media outlets. The foregoing actions of the cast member at issue were within the scope of the defendant's business and in furtherance of the defendant's business. All right. Goes on to say defendants willfully, intentionally, recklessly, and or with gross negligence republish certain of the cast members' statements at issue. Specifically, defendants willfully, intentionally, recklessly, and or with gross negligence produce, edited, and aired an episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta on April 6, 2025, that included footage of certain of the cast members' statements at issue, as well as commentary from other cast members that described the photographs displayed. So, in that, that's just really a breakdown of Kenya talking about it, and Bravo and Truly Original and all of the people that she's suing. They went ahead and edited and put it out. Now, big mistake on Bravo's part for me. Two big mistakes. After Brit mentioned the Pow Pow episodes before Kenya Moore's episode, they should have let her go. And guess what? They wouldn't find themselves in this lawsuit. But also, they should not have aired that episode, period. They should have scrapped everything. And I think since they went ahead and aired that, they may have to pay up. Let's see. They said that the defendants refused to not show that. You know what I mean? They said that despite plaintiff's repeated requests prior to the airing of the episode at issue, the defendants show her the photograph and they refused to do so. So this lawsuit is saying that Brit asked for the proof. Let me see what this girl put up. Let me see the poster boards. Let me see the episode. Let me see what the tapes put up. They refused to do so. And by way of the foregoing, the defendants contributed to a hostile work environment for plaintiff and actually harassed plaintiff by subjecting the plaintiff to unwelcome, offensive, and sexualized behavior and comments based on her gender, by requiring her to continue working in an environment in which she had been subjected to a gendered attack, creating an inferior condition or privilege of employment because of her gender. That's loaded. That is loaded. Now, especially going through this Diddy trial, you have to look further in some of these claims that are mentioned in the lawsuits. And are the pictures really considered actual harassment? I guess so. They were explicit in an actual manner, although she's saying that it was not her. And Kenya Moore, I would say, did harass. That's why I think Kenya Moore is one of the Jane Does that you see on this thumbnail. It goes on to say the relief sought is as follows: the immediate removal of the episode from public access on all platforms, networks, and media outlets in the defendant's control. B, a public statement by defendants that the statements by the cast member and the depiction of those statements, including the impression that the explicit photograph depicted plaintiff, were false. C, a monetary award to be determined at trial entered against the defendants jointly and severally and slash or individually. D, as well as punitive damages entered against the defendants jointly and severally and slash or individually. And E, for the cost and fees of this proceeding, including legal fees, and for such other and further relief as this court deems just and proper. Well, child, she wants the immediate removal of the episode. She wants a public statement made by Truly Original, Bravo Media, NBC Universal, Edmond Shine North America. She wants them to publicly say that that was not her. Also, lawyers' fees and every damn thing else. Number 5 says, should defendant fail to appear herein, judgment will be entered by default for the sum of not less than $20 million with interest and the cost and fees of this action. That's basically saying if Bravo and the crew think this is a joke and they fail to appear in court, they want a default judgment of no less than $20 million plus interest. Wow. It goes on to say plaintiff, which is Brittany, designates New York County as the place of trial. The basis of this designation, child, designation. What is wrong with my tongue? Too many words, child. You know I know designation. So let me start over. Plaintiff designates New York City as the place of trial. The basis of this designation is defendant's principal place of business, the situs of where events relevant to this action occurred, and the venue selected in the employment contract governing the relationship between plaintiff and defendant, Truly Original LLC, as well as the employment contract governing the relationship between the offending cast member and Truly Original LLC. This is dated June 5th, 2025, and her lawyer's name is Benjamin D. White, Esquire. Also, Michael L. Block, Esquire. And that's the details of the lawsuit. What are you all's thoughts? They made a big mistake to me. They really, really did. Because if what Brit said is true, if that is not her on that poster board that Kenya had that they aired, they made sure to cover up the picture, but still, if it wasn't her, and if Bravo would have done their proper investigation, we wouldn't be here again. If they hadn't aired that episode, we wouldn't be here. And if they would have let her crack earth, to me, my opinion only, Brit got some issues. If they would have let her go, like I said, from jump, we wouldn't be here. And I think they done effed up. I really, really do. So I want to know what you guys think about this. I'm sorry I could not share, and I really didn't want to, child. Folks that's suing, I'll read it, but I'm not going to put it up there. But what are your thoughts? After hearing all of the details, let me know if you think that Jane/John Doe, I'm wondering who the John could be. But I think, because it's 5 of them, it looks like, I think one of them could very well be Kenya Moore. Now, I'm also going to say this. Let me see if I can find the post. Kenya Moore spoke out earlier. Well, not earlier. She spoke out on her YouTube video that she uploaded over the weekend. And Kenya states that she's having issues with the landlord where her spa is. And because of that, Kenya is saying that she may move up out of that spa. Now, I don't know if I believe all of that, but I'm going to let you guys listen, and we'll take a look at what Kenya has to say. And I want to know from you guys if you think that Kenya is a step ahead. If Kenya knows that she is named in that lawsuit, do you think that Kenya could be shutting down shop to make sure Brit can't get any of that? I don't know. A part of me feels like, yeah, this is a preemptive move to me. But let's go ahead and take a look. Again, this is covered under the Copyright Disclaimer Act. It is allowed for fair use. Let's listen to Kenya talk about this dispute.
What happens to this salon? I told you guys when I did the first confessionals, I had a dispute with the landlord. The landlord has not given me back my TIA, that's tenant improvement allowance. I was allotted $79,000 some $100 to improve this place. This was like whole floor. I built an entire second floor. I have not gotten a penny back from that.
Now that's terrible if the landlord did that. But they always say don't do improvements, especially like that, if you are renting. If it's not your building, why would you build a whole second floor? It's not yours. I don't understand that. Let's continue.
So if I'm not paying rent and they're not paying me TIA, we're at an impasse. So something has got to give.
Oh, so she's not paying rent. Now, Kenya, I'm going to give you some advice. You may want to go ahead and get all your ish up out of there. If you're not paying rent, it doesn't matter if you got a dispute with the landlord or not. If you are not paying your rent, the landlord has every right to come and put your shit out on the streets of Atlanta.
So whether that means I'm going to be in here next year, next month, next week, we'll see. So keep trying, because I'm just going to climb regardless if I'm here or not. Thank you.
She looks gorgeous. There's people in the comments that's saying that she's closing. There's been other people that lives in Atlanta, and they say that, it really doesn't look like she get much business. And look, all of that could be true or false. And what I think could play a part in that as well. And I think that by now, at least, Kenya knows that she's a part of that lawsuit. And shut up shop. Protect your assets. A lot of us were very, very upset with Kenya because we did not feel like she should have addressed Brit at the opening anyway. Kenya said this was for Brooklyn and all of that. And you felt the need to do what you did. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. But anyway, drop down. Let me know your thoughts about Kenya Moore as well. I thank you guys for joining me. We'll keep our eye out on this. Let me know if you think they're going to settle with Brit. A part of me feels like they are going to settle. Why I feel like that, I don't know. But I think her lawyer probably got a little more. You know what I'm saying? A little more to add to this. And instead of them bringing all of that out, they may settle. Or she may lose. I don't know. What I do know, I'm going to go ahead and play it. I think the girl was scheming from jump. And this is what I think Brit is saying right here.
Got him! Got him!
Her and her husband. I think they saying got him. I really do. But thank you again, guys, for joining me for this video. I appreciate each and every one of you. Drop down in the comments. Let's chit chat about it. And I'll chat with you guys soon. Bye.
Chit chat with QT. Chit chat with QT. Chit chat, chit chat, chit chat with QT. With QT. Chit chat with QT. Chit chat, chit chat, chit chat with QT.